Is this the beginning of human extinction?
My blood ran cold when I saw what it spit out. It's a counterfeit.
Or human extension?
The point is that we need to admit to ourselves that our capacity to recognize patterns is very limited.
Do you feel like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, the precipice of the unknown?
I think the future is not going to be generative AI versus humans. It's going to be humans who use generative AI versus those who don't.
Generative AI wasn't even in the narrative 5 years ago. Now it is the narrative. As a writer, I too wonder how generative AI will impact my own career. Will it replace people like me? Well, that's an intro I wrote for this show in about 3 to 4 minutes. Now I'm going to ask generative AI to write one for me.
Tonight, we ask the experts and the machine and find only one certain answer about AI.
We're not even mile one of a marathon race, because this is going to be around for the next hundreds of years.
A recent survey of AI experts found 36% fear that AI development may result in a, quote, nuclear-level catastrophe.
There are people out there that are fearful of this technology. We've heard the words human extinction. Do you see that as a possibility?
If somebody would tell me that students in my own lab are going to be using ChatGPT to edit their papers, even a year ago, I would never believe it. So I think that it's not only that it progresses in such a speed that most of the time, those of us who develop it cannot really imagine what will come next.
MIT professor Regina Barzilai says it is that unknown, the uncertainty, that is fueling the hype. So, what is AI?
AI is an area of computer science that aims to build programs that behave intelligently. And by intelligently, we mean programs that can do what intelligent human can do.
You are likely using versions of AI in your everyday life already. Think Google Translate or Netflix or Amazon recommendations. What you may not be using yet, though certainly your coworker, friend, or teens are, is generative AI.
The idea is that you not only can use machine to kind of select from the predefined list of possibilities, but you can also ask machine to generate you new objects.
Essentially, generative AI can create something new by learning from existing information.
So the best case scenario is that all the tasks that we really hate to perform in our daily life will be performed by technologies.
What is worst case scenario?
The worst case scenario, I think, is like with any technology when there are some unintended consequences.
A Georgia man has sued OpenAI, maker of ChatGPT, alleging that it created a legal summary accusing him of embezzlement. It marks the first defamation suit against the creator of a generative AI tool.
ChatGPT and many of these programs have a capacity to hallucinate, to create outputs which look very believable, but in reality they're not supported by the real evidence.
AI can now clone your voice with just a few seconds of audio. Anthony and I sat down to try it out.
So you're just going to press record and read that sentence.
The system asks that we read a simple sentence.
Yes.
Generated content can be used for videos. Finish.
Submit.
Submit.
A few seconds later,
Just type anything here, any sentence that you want the program to read. And now, generate.
Generate.
and we have an AI version of Anthony's voice.
Drawn to Gloucester, but then captivated by a fellow painter, Josephine Jonavision.
It's not totally there, but it's pretty darn close.
Now, if somebody were to call a family member and it was a situation where they were saying you were in trouble, that's close enough.
That's close enough.
So how do we protect our identities from theft and even potential scammers?
What we have to do is we have to put proper guardrails in place so that this technology is not abused.
State Senator Barry Feingold recently used a generative AI tool to write legislation aimed at regulating itself.
We actually had ChatGPT draft a bill for us, and we knew the power of this solution that basically could draft a bill almost as good as some of my staffers. So we knew right then that this is a powerful technology that we saw could do a lot of good, but we also could see the negatives. The biggest thing that we want to do is to make sure that if this is not your work, that it is basically out there that it's not your work.
Feingold hopes Congress will ultimately take the wheel on regulation, but we know the gears of government grind much more slowly than technology.
And many makers of this technology are asking for regulation, and there are a lot of bills right now in front of Congress.
Right, and Nicole also mentioned a lawsuit against a generative AI program. Since then, there have been a number of other lawsuits filed, and just today, the Federal Trade Commission launched an investigation into ChatGPT over issues of accuracy and data protection. So it is a little bit of the Wild West out there right now.
All right, coming up, the impact on artists.